What's up, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Wizards Latest. I'm your host and DC sports fan, Ben Robertson, and on this page, we break down all the biggest headlines surrounding the Washington Wizards. So, today, I want to talk about a couple signings the Wizards have made. Skal Labissiere, Alondes Williams added to the talent pool. Then we'll chat a little bit more about John Wall's retirement and what his legacy is here in DC. How should he be honored moving forward? As always, guys, thank you for tuning into the page every single day. Thanks for dropping your comments down below. Try to interact with you guys just a little bit down there as well. Like and subscribe to Wizards Latest. And again, let's jump in today. Want to talk a little bit about the signing of Skal Labissiere, the 29-year-old Haitian native and Kentucky product. Will be joining the Wizards. We're not quite sure exactly what the deal will look like yet. We're assuming maybe an Exhibit 10 type of contract here, which would allow them to bring him in for training camp and then potentially send him down to play with the G League affiliate, the Go-Go. Really, with Skal, you have to remember there was so much hype about him going into college, going into that year at Kentucky. Hasn't really ever maybe panned out for him. Really didn't in college. Remember, he was a projected top pick going into that freshman season. Fell down in the draft to the 28th overall slot. Bounced around really in the league since then. Started with Sacramento, spent time in Portland, has had stints in Mexico and Puerto Rico. Worked his way back into the league last year. Actually played really well with the Stockton Kings last season. Averaged about 16 points, 8 rebounds. Made his way onto the Sacramento Kings NBA roster. Ended up having 4 appearances in the NBA last season. Those were the first actually appearances in the league for Skal since 2020. So he worked his way all the way back. And again, sounds like maybe an Exhibit 10 deal is going to be reached here, or has been reached with the team. Wizards have also signed Alondes Williams, bringing him in a few years younger than Skal, 26 years old, which is why I think he's maybe more of a candidate to have landed that two-way spot, that last remaining two-way deal the team has available. Williams, a guy that also played really well at the G League level last year, filled it up really. 18 points, 6 assists per game were his averages, over 45 appearances split between the Detroit and Miami G League affiliates. An interesting path really to the league for Alondes, a Wisconsin native. Began his college career at the JUCO ranks before transferring to Oklahoma. Averaged about 6 points per game over a couple years there. And then he transferred to Wake Forest, where really he exploded his final season of college. Averaged about 18.5 points per game. Went undrafted. The shooting ability, a big question mark for him coming out of college. You hear me mention it on the page all of the time, but if you can't knock down three-point shots, especially open catch and shoot looks in the modern NBA, it really is difficult for you to find a spot and find a role. Despite really playing well and scoring and putting up decent numbers in his G League stints, he hasn't really been able to latch on with any NBA organization so far in his time in the league. That is Alondes Williams. So with Labissiere and with Williams, not only do these guys become candidates for 10th Man Tuesday, of course, where we break down a player on the Wizards or on the Go-Go fighting for more minutes at the NBA level, but they also really do become players with legitimate, maybe long shot at that chances to make the NBA roster or receive NBA playing time here this year. And there's a couple reasons for that, to be quite honest. Remember, again, Skal was able to do that with the Kings last season. And again, a couple reasons for that. Really, again, the team likely going to be down near the bottom of the standings again, meaning there's just nothing really set in stone. It offers a space and an opportunity for players right like on the fringe like that to get a chance in the NBA. And then two, if some of the maybe mid-season trade deadline moves do come to fruition like we maybe are expecting, whether it's with a CJ McCollum, a Chris Middleton, a Corey Kispert even, well, all of a sudden the roster is going to be really shaken up and there's going to be just openings for some of these fringe players to get their opportunity and see if they can really prove their value at the NBA level. So again, Alondes Williams and Skal Labissiere signed here by the Wizards. But I want to talk a little bit more about John Wall's retirement. Obviously, has really just been swirling the swirling discussion on social media, etc. here since that was announced. Really had me thinking about some of my favorite moments and favorite memories as it related to John Wall and his time with the team. For me, honestly, that's an easy one, and I know this is going to be a popular answer, but the Game 6 game winner against Boston. How could you not have that? Maybe again, I know it's a popular one, but first of all, just the play itself. I remember him being so ready to attack, or ready for him to attack the basket, and John just pulled up with so much confidence and just drained that shot. He hopped up on the table. It just felt like the whole city and area was so behind the team and behind him at that point. And honestly, it's like the only moment, maybe, at least in recent memory, I can kind of think of in terms of Wizards basketball that just had that feel. It really is the last time the team was in serious contention. You might argue maybe nobody was getting past Cleveland in the East. John Wall thinks they were if they could have gotten over Boston or past Boston in that series. Remember, Boston lost to Cleveland in the next round. Isaiah Thomas got hurt after the first couple games. But you have to also remember that series was just incredible. The Wizards fell behind 2-0. They had to battle back. It involved, of course, some incredible performances from Isaiah Thomas himself right after his sister's death, which made it just kind of another interesting storyline. Wall's shot, of course, sending it to Game 7. We all know what happened after that. But again, just sort of the last time the Wizards really felt like they were maybe right there, hanging out with the upper echelon of the league. And the last thing I really want to discuss, sort of on the same note, same talking point here with John Wall's retirement, is should his jersey be retired, to be quite honest, and really how should he be honored with the team moving forward. This was a discussion and a talking point circling really a few weeks back. It also sort of involved Bradley Beal, and honestly I saw a lot of pushback to it. I saw most people saying they didn't do enough, those two players, to have earned that very high honor. A lot of people holding the jersey retirement in really the highest regard of how an individual franchise can honor an organization. I will say I saw the pushback a little bit more with Bradley Beal than I did see with Wall, but I saw a lot of people saying no chance Wall should have his jersey retired as well. The team never won 50 games. They never made it past the second round. I understand those things, and I honestly think at the time I was a little bit less steadfast about this. But now, especially after the retirement, maybe it's the nostalgia hitting me. I don't know. I've never seen an official criteria for jersey retirement, to be quite honest. And I don't think I want to see any other Wizards players wearing number 2 out there on the court, to be quite honest. And I think John Wall's jersey should end up in the rafters. Not only if you look at where he stands in terms of some of the all-time franchise ranks, he's the all-time assist and steals leader, 4th on the scoring list, but he just meant so much to this organization for so long. And to me, that means a whole bunch. Again, I understand if maybe the level of winning wasn't there for you, but I don't think it's saying the bar is too low, or oh, just because we haven't won enough, we should just be giving out jersey retirements. I don't think that's what this is. Retiring John Wall's jersey would be just a signal of we want to honor a player that meant everything to this franchise, to this area, and gave everything during his time with the team to honestly an organization that really didn't give him everything back in return. It was a pretty poorly run team. I think the entire league, the fan base as well, sort of admits in his time here in DC. So I think I would like to see number 2 end up in the rafters at Capital One Arena. Would love to know your thoughts down below. Would love to know your thoughts on anything else you've heard here in the video. Drop them down in that comment section. Make sure you like and subscribe to the page as well. Appreciate all the support, you guys, and thanks for watching another episode of Wizards Latest.